When I was a child, I used to go to this sub sandwich place. I think it's only in Canada. It's called Mr. Sub, and I liked it there a lot. In fact, saying that I liked Mr. Sub is pejorative. I loved Mr. Sub. I once announced in one of their shops I could eat one of their sub sandwiches every day. I loved them so much I could eat one every day. Then one of the employees turned to me and said, "You know, if you ate one of these every day, you wouldn't like them anymore. Too much of a good thing quickly becomes a bad thing." And I think this is what's happening with me and the vintage reissues that watch brands keep churning out. Did I really just try to bridge together subs and watches? If there is one design cue that has defined the last 5 or so years of watch releases, it is the vintage reissue. And I think we're at the point now where it's gone too far. It feels like watch brands are out of ideas and too much of this good thing has become a bad thing. This is my personal therapy session. I will keep it quick because I know you charge by the hour, good doctor. So let's get talking. There seems to be this originality void in our world at the moment, and I don't think it's because people don't have new ideas. I think it's because creating something new is costly and risky, and it's not worth that risk for watch brands. 2024 was the first year ever where the top 10 highest grossing films for the year in the box office were all sequels. Well, that was true until Wicked came out, which is ranked at number 6, but even though that's not a sequel, it's not original IP. In fact, the top 16 movies of the entire year were all sequels. Once again, it's not that people are out of ideas or can't come up with original screenplays. My personal favorite movie of the year was Conclave. Awesome flick. But when it comes to blockbusters, existing IP and sequels are very safe. I'd also lump biopics into that as well, but I think that's a little bit more up for debate. If a Hollywood studio is pumping millions, often hundreds of millions, into a film, they need it to perform well, and there's just so much safety in taking an already successful film and making a sequel. I think this idea translates really well for the watch industry. There is safety in reissues. It's a proven design, easy to market, and it seems to be what people want. There's a lot of safety in making the same watch over and over and over again and just making slight changes to it. It is efficient, like you've already got the movement, you've already got the case. Let's just slightly change the dial or hands. Cheap changes to make and call it something new. But the masterclass in this is from Rolex. Whether you love Rolex, hate Rolex, there's no denying that they are evolutionary, not revolutionary, and they have carved out a huge piece of the market share, creating essentially the same watch designs for decades. Mid-century sports watches is their bread and butter, and people like me keep lapping it up. If we go back to the film comparison, Rolex is the Marvel Cinematic Universe, and hey, some of their watches even have MCU names. I hate that. Now, as you can probably already tell by this point, I spend an unreal amount of time watching films, watching TV shows. I obviously have a thriving social life. And this is one of the reasons why I love today's fabulous video sponsor, Surfshark VPN. If you're not as familiar with them, Surfshark is an app and browser extension that allows you to virtually place your device in another location, browse privately by encrypting your internet activity, and protects your data while you're using public Wi-Fi. Something you might not know about me is that I've been using Surfshark since before they were a channel sponsor. I started using Surfshark a few years ago so I could still watch British Netflix while I was traveling. So even though I was in Germany, I could still watch Bridgerton because that show is steamy. But they are so much more than just a streaming tool. A VPN covers your whole online activity. So once your device is connected to the internet, Surfshark encrypts all of your information so online activity is hidden from not savory people who might try to steal your credit card information for fraudulent purchases and even identity theft. They even have this feature called Alert, where Surfshark will notify you of personal data leaks to keep your information safe online. Honestly, if you have any of your personal information online, you need some form of security, and this is the biggest reason why I use Surfshark and Bridgerton's. If this sounds like something you need in your life, go click the Surfshark link that is in my description. I will put it on screen now so you can see it there. And if you use my link, you will get an extra 4 months of Surfshark. And on top of that, you have a 30-day money-back guarantee. So if this isn't for you, you're not using it, no sweat. I love Surfshark. I have literally been using them for years. And thank you so much for sponsoring this video. Next reason we see a lot of brands relying on the vintage reissue is because innovating and making something new is expensive. Something I think watch enthusiasts forget is that watch brands and manufacturers are for-profit businesses. First and foremost, they exist to make money. I think sometimes we project our enthusiasm and passion for timekeeping onto Richemont or LVMH. But this is the tricky balance of being in the arts and turning anything artistic into your job. I feel it all the time with running this channel. I started this YouTube channel as a place to document my watch collecting journey. It's grown beyond my wildest dreams. And now this, making videos talking about watches, which is something I would do for free anyways, is my full-time job, which is awesome. But it then also means that this is my job. This is how I earn money. This is how I keep my family fed. And it also brings a new burden of responsibility. If I am about to say something controversial, it's a lot scarier now than when this was my hobby. Although it is fun thinking of the things that are controversial to say in the watch space. Maybe Hublot isn't that bad. But I digress. The weight of taking risks is heavier when your art also becomes your job, and I'd say especially so when you're not independent and you're under the pressure of a conglomerate. Making constant reissues is a safe and easy way to make money. Yes, big watch brands employ artists and designers and watchmakers, but they are businesses first. If heritage and reissues didn't make money, we wouldn't hear them laboring on about it. R&D is incredibly costly and risky. Creating new movements, new materials, new cases is very, very expensive, and you run the risk of people not liking this new thing you've created. I am about to commit a cardinal sin of watch YouTube and defend Richard Mille. I know a lot of the enthusiast community hates RM because they're expensive, weird, and colorful. That's really what it boils down to. They are hated on because they're expensive and not to classical watch tastes and sensibilities, and that is fine. But one thing I just don't have patience for is when people say that their watches are crap or they're not made to a high degree of watchmaking, because that's just factually untrue. I don't care if you think they are ugly. Tastes are subjective and they aren't for everyone. But on a watchmaking level, they are making insane watches that no one else dares to make. No one else makes a tourbillon that you can wear playing tennis that is lighter than a AA battery, but Richard Mille does. They literally invent new materials. They create so many new movements, and they are ambitious. R&D is so costly, and this is why we don't see many mainstream manufacturers innovating in this space or creating new movements for decades. It's not that they can't, it's just very, very expensive. Now, I'm going to throw an idea out here, and it could be stupid. We're just forming this out still, but I think this is one of the things we lost when every aspect of watchmaking started to move in-house. No, you know what? I'm thinking about this. I don't think this is fully formed enough to say. Editing Brittany, cut this out. It's not ready yet. And the final act of this fabulous therapy session. Thank you so much for being a part of my therapy session, good doctor. But do people really want new things? As always, I think the answer is it's complicated. I think if you follow the money, a majority of people are buying vintage reissues with pretty classical design language. This is why Rolex is the juggernaut that it is. They are evolutionary, not revolutionary, and people just generally want the same design. I think a part of the charm of mechanical watches is this nostalgic old world feeling. There are better ways to tell the time and far more accurate ways. But for some reason, humans keep coming back to this older method of timekeeping. But isn't this what humans do in general? Like the Bible says, there is nothing new under the sun except whatever weird thing MB&F is about to make, Ecclesiastes 1:9. Making this video, one of the first watches that came to mind for me was the Tudor North Flag. Fantastic watch, really different for Tudor, didn't rely on the past quite as much, probably ahead of its time. It didn't sell well and was discontinued quickly. Even me, examining my own collection. I have two Tudors that are nearly identical in design, my Black Bay 58 and my Black Bay 54, and they're both vintage reissues. So I can sit here complaining about vintage reissues, but then when I look at where I actually spend my money, I think people who are a little bit deeper into this hobby want new, exciting, different things. But in general, not watch goblins, normal people who represent most of the people who are purchasing watches want one or two nice watches that are a bit more classical and timeless feeling. So it's not worth it for brands to make weird, different stuff. Okay, I've spent most of this video whinging. Let's highlight some of the brands, watchmakers, manufacturers that are making cool different things that don't cost a fortune. Starting with Otsuka Low-Tech. So this is a brand I discovered through my friend Vu Bui. Hi Vu, you're awesome. He has the Otsuka Low-Tech number 6, so cool. I'd describe these as creative, industrial, but with a level of practicality. To keep costs down, they use Miyota movements, but each piece is bursting with a unique perspective. I love these watches, and a darling of the Japanese domestic market. Number 2, Christopher Ward, and namely the Bel Canto. Everyone has talked about this one, but for good reason. So they modified their jump hour movement to chime every hour. I think it's beautiful, mindful, and pushing the boundaries. Number 3, Studio Underdog. They're not quite as weird, but I feel like they're getting more experimental. Number 4, anything Louis Erard touches is going to be weird and wonderful. A bit more expensive, but I would say worth it. Number 5, the Mad 1 series. So this is a side project of Max Buser of MB&F, and it completely rethinks the way we look at a watch. The very first thing you see is the movement. The entire dial is actually the movement, and the time is displayed in a driver watch style using the sides. I feel like you'd need to retrain yourself on how you read a watch if you owned this, but it's cool, it's different, I love it. Number 6, Ming, and I should actually talk about Ming more than I do. Very minimal, different, and worth looking into. I was very close to buying an 1801 a few years ago. And number 7, Fier's Watch Company. And I am thinking specifically of their Jump Hour Brunswick in coral. Really cool, really different. Their watches are usually a little bit more classical looking, but this is pretty different. But anyways, guys, this was my therapy session. Thank you for helping me. Please leave the diagnosis in the comments down below. Actually, don't. Thank you for indulging me. I'd love to know what you guys think in those comments down below. Do you think the vintage reissue is played out? Are you sick of it? Are you still loving it? I don't know. Let me know. Thank you once again to Surfshark for sponsoring this video, and don't forget to click my link. And now, Pope Tier patrons, get their names on the screen. Oh, this video took forever to film. Why did it take so long? My back hurts. Ah! Thank you, Pope Tier patrons. Thank you to all the names on this screen. I'm sick of my voice, so you must be sick of it too. Let's take a break and just read these amazing names.